What kind of seed is in you? See, I believe part of our responsibility in life is to find out who we are, to discover ourselves. First off, we need to respect our nature. We need to realize we are part of a continuing chain that carries a legacy and a responsibility. And if that's the case, then we need to recognize that we were not biological coincidences. We were, I believe there's a creator, and I believe you were intentionally created for a myriad of purposes. There are many things we can do with our lives. And I think it's our job to find out what those things are and to do them as well as we possibly can so that we're passing along the right imprint for the next generation.
An understanding that comes with the world of communication and great dialogue. I can, in having this conversation, I can point to so many examples of how it's so hard to see the good if you're only seeing the bad. Like, there's so many people that struggle with what their version of success is because they're looking at someone else's. There's so many people that struggle with their world of relationship because they're judging theirs based off of someone else's, right? And when you're constantly in the space of not realizing or noticing your world, your reality, because you're living in what appears to be someone else's, well, your shit is never gonna be right.
I think there's many, many meanings of life. I think there's a way to navigate life that's enjoyable. I think it requires many things. It requires, first of all, it requires love. You have to have loved ones, you have to have family, you have to have friends, you have to have people that care about you, and you have to care about them. I think that is primary. Then it also requires interests. There has to be things that stimulate you. Now, it could be just a subsistence lifestyle. There's many people that believe and practice this lifestyle of just living off the land and hunting and fishing and living in the woods, and they seem incredibly happy.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, I think you need something that is interesting to you, something that you're passionate about. And there's far too many people that get sucked into living a life where you're just doing a job. You're just showing up and putting in your time and then going home, but you don't have a passion for what you're doing. And I think that's the recipe for a boring and very unfulfilling life.
The more times I've had W's and then realized that right afterwards I felt nothing, I had to think back of like, what are the things that I enjoyed most in my life? And it's always in pursuit. And I'm like, well then, why don't I set something really big, really far so I can be in pursuit for the longest period of time possible? And that's where I think a lot of people from the outside, they cast their expectations of life onto me and say, I wouldn't live my life that way. You're always working, you're always doing these things. But it's like, I'm actually always spending my time in pursuit because in pursuit is my button for enjoyment.
How the fuck can you look at your situation that you're currently living and not be fucking motivated? If you can't look around at your current life and say, fuck, this sucks, and be motivated for more, bro, you can't do it. You should just quit. Go do something else. Because your existing situation in life should be enough motivation to get you started.
Slaves worked all the hours they were awake for their entire lives. In American history, in Egyptian history, in the rest of the world that had slaves, which is most of the world at some given point. I think like if they can do it, so can I. Now you're like, well, did they have a happy existence? Well, they didn't get to pick the work they did, but it means that you can work. That's if you have the cap behind you. You can work every hour of the day. I'm like, well, if you get to have the cheese and you get to eat the cheese the whole way you're going, then, I mean, there's the famous quote, the person who loves walking walks further than the person who loves the destination.
The man who never fail has no glory. The man who fell and got back up, that's where his glory is. The man who fell 20 times and got up 21 times, that man has even greater glory.
Wow.
That man has more courage, way more courage than the guy who was so strong from birth that he never fell. There's no glory in that.
Why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? I'm 25 years old. He said, this is America, land of opportunity. Why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? And then he said, for what it will make of you to achieve it. And I thought, wow, that's a whole different philosophy. Set a goal to become a millionaire for the person you have to become in order to be worth $1 million. Then he said, once you've become a millionaire, you can give the money away, because what's important is not what you got, but the person you became. And I got the message.
People are so programmed and brainwashed into classism and protectionism that it's difficult for people to embrace innovation unless it has a tag on it that's got a name brand connected to it that says, with this innovation, you will be better than the person, you'll be better than your next door neighbor.
I'll say honestly, just lock in, man. I think the biggest thing nowadays, everybody has social media and stuff, and like, sometimes you just gotta put the phone down. Sometimes you gotta figure out who you are. And I see people all the time, like, how do you figure out what you wanna do? And like, I got big dreams to be rich and famous or just rich, but I just don't know what to do. I got so many things I wanna do. A lot of people don't like remove themselves from the crowd, or like you'll never put down the weed, or you never put down the alcohol, or you gotta really remove yourself from all this stuff, and like maybe put down your phone for once, just think and like just sit back. And sometimes it might make you cry. You might be to go into some deep depression shit, but it'll trigger that thing in your brain to think and to figure out what you really want to do.
I think you would give me everything you own in 25 years' time to be the age you are now and as healthy as you are right now. And I think it's a really interesting meditation to think about, right, if you had a time machine, if you were 30 years in the future, if you could be this healthy and feel this good and be this age, you'd give everything materially that you own in 30 years' time to be back here. And just to take that in for a minute, just to take a moment to think about, wow, this is amazing.
No one is born with self-confidence. Zero, right? Every single one of us, our self-confidence was determined by how we were raised, the parents we had, the teachers we had, the bosses we've had, the jobs we've had. And so if somebody's insecure, we have to over and over and over again prove to them, because we don't know where they came from. We don't know what kind of trouble they got in before, for being honest, right? Or how they were raised. We don't know. And so we have to have total empathy and just prove to them that if they make a mistake, they're gonna get helped, not hurt. They're gonna get supported, not yelled at.
Life is precious, and it's beautiful just to wake up in the morning. Before I used to take it all for granted. I didn't care. I didn't care about nothing. I didn't care about family, friends, relatives, achievements. I didn't care about fuck all. I just didn't care. But now, after going to hell and back, I appreciate fresh air and a glass of water. Gratitude. Smaller things in life. Gratitude. Because when you've lost, you never know what you've really got until it's gone. Yeah. But I've had the opportunity to be shot down and come back. You know, and you really find out who your friends are, who the people are really behind you, who leaves, who jumps off, and everybody just loves a winner. Nobody wants to be around a loser. Nobody wants to be around a man who's lost his mind.
The only advice I would have would be to not listen to anyone and to do what you love and to make things that you love, whatever it is. Make your favorite things. Be the audience. Make the thing for you the audience. And it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks. And if you have to get a job to support yourself so that you can make your art, that's fine. You can't make art for someone else. You can't make art with someone else in mind. I don't believe it can be good.
So just go and do it, try, learn from it. You'll fail at some things. That's a learning experience that you need so that you can take that on to the next experience. And don't let people who you may respect and who you believe know what they're talking about, don't let them tell you it can't be done. Because often they will tell you it can't be done, and it's just because they don't have the courage to try it.
You have a brain, you have a mind, you have a mental model. You can't think of everything, you can't do everything. You can only have certain frameworks instilled inside of your mind. Mm-hmm. As a man, you should be hyper competitive. You should try and be the best version of yourself you can be. You're competing against every other man on earth for the girl you want, the car you want, the house you want, the watch you wear. It's all competition. You should be as competitive as you possibly can. Anything that's inside of your mind which doesn't allow you to be competitive should be erased.
I bet you and I have a lot in common. We're not the strongest, smartest, or richest people we know. We're not the fastest or most connected. We're not the best looking or most talented. We don't have the best genetics. But what we do have is something a lot of those other people will never have: the will to work. If there's one unavoidable truth in this world, it's that there is no substitute for putting in the work. There is no shortcut or growth hack or magic pill that can get you around the hard work of doing your job well, of winning something you care about, or of making your dreams come true. People have tried to cut corners and skip steps in this process for as long as hard work has been hard. Eventually, those people either fall behind or get left in the dust, because working your ass off is the only thing that works 100% of the time for 100% of the things worth achieving. Work works. That is the bottom line. No matter what you do, no matter who you are, my entire life has been shaped by that single idea.
You need to love pain to be an athlete. And I know, no pain, no this, whatever, all the, oh my, no, this is real. You need to love pain. However, mentally, physically, love it. You need to love it. If not, stay where you are.
It doesn't matter where you are in life. It really doesn't. Because the great thing about life is it's always your next move. Your next move that counts. No matter where you are. You could be, look, I was dead broke. My electric bill was being shut off. And there were people even like worse off than I was. It doesn't matter. You could change your life if you want to. It's always your next decision. So it's up to you.
I give you the map. You are willing to do that?
Yeah.
It's the main point, because everyone wants to be Cristiano, but I give you the map. You think you will do it that? It's difficult. It's
the discipline.
The discipline is the most difficult thing, not only in the sports, but in the life.
Everything is possible in your life when you believe. When you believe, everything is possible. You have two hands. Everything is possible.
Strength is not from the efforts in a physical state. No. It starts with an undying will, belief that the journey you're about to embark on is a winnable course of action and that you can do it better than anyone's done it before. That belief is so ingrained in the will of the individual that creates the driving force of physical strength to turn into a maturity of something.
I mean, what makes people happy? Progress. If you get some big goal, you're going to achieve a lot of them in your life, right? There's one of two responses when you achieve the goal.
Yeah.
A horrible one is this all there is? Which a lot of people do after fighting for a goal. And is this all there is?
Oh, yeah.
But the other one is, let's say, oh, this is amazing. How long does that amazing feeling of achieving your goal last? 6 years? A year? 6 months?
Man, the beauty of being someone who has to go through struggle, because you get that. If there's no struggle, that's the thing. If there's no struggle, then it's nothing. There's no journey. There's no journey. You get to make that magic, man. You get to be the story. I'm realizing that I have to daily show up for myself if I want my life to be what I want it to be.
Right.
It is a battle.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but it's like you have to have some sort of a plan. When I used to be a little bit more aimless, I was just like, oh, I want things to be good. It wasn't enough.
Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside, and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever.
One of the most important things, never, ever quit. Never quit. I don't know if it's an ability or if you have it, just you can't quit. And I've seen people quitting And if they would have held out longer, they would have been successful. I've seen it so much. I've seen some of the most brilliant people in the world that never made it because they were quitters. They were just quitters. They would quit. They just couldn't take it. They couldn't, whatever. One of the things about loving what you do is that it's not work, and therefore you don't quit automatically. It's a lot easier not to quit. But you can never give up. Now, you have to also have flexibility, though. You can't necessarily say, I'm never giving up, and you got to be able to weave and bob. You don't have to go through a concrete wall when you can go over it or around it or under it or something. You have to have flexibility. You have to always be able to change course a little bit, maybe always with that same goal, but don't quit.
And so as long as you can be in a place where you're constantly looking to the next place, and you don't let anything get in the way of that or hinder that, then you have a really good chance to be everything you ever wanted to be in life.
I don't care if I lose everything. I don't care what happens. Nothing really is ours anyway in life. We only borrow it till we die, and it all goes. The only thing we truly own in this life is moments in time. Like, this is a moment in time for me that will never be erased. And no matter what happens, this is always going to be my time. This will be my moment in time because I lived here and I was a part of this. You know, everything else, this bag, this watch, these clothes, they will all go. What does it really matter?
As soon as you, as a person, decide that you're not going to lie anymore, and that whatever problem that you have, you're going to deal with that problem right then where it presents itself, it'll show you a whole new side of you.
Do not be discouraged by the struggle. The struggle is a good sign that the Spirit of God is at work in your life. If you're not struggling in any way over sin, I worry about you. But if you're that person's like, dude, I'm just struggling, good, bro. Because what you're recognizing is that there's this war, as you said, raging between your flesh and the spirit, and both of these are trying to win out over the other. You know, your flesh is trying to draw you away from God and toward sin, and the Spirit of God is trying to draw you away from sin and toward God in a life of righteousness. And so that internal battle shows that the Spirit is in you, that you have been saved, that He is working to save you in present time from the power of sin.
I mean, it's been a struggle some days, I won't lie. Some days I'm like, man, this is tiring, this is hard. Now I embrace the hard, and I want that every single day. I don't ever want anything to be easy. I think whenever it's hard, like, you really, really, really deserved it. If it's hard and you get it done, you gave everything to it, that's yours. Nobody can take that from you.
You need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable scenarios, okay? If you do easy things, you will have a hard life. If you do hard things, you will have an easy life. Let me say it again. If you do easy things, you will have a hard life. If you do hard things, you will have an easy life. As a man, you have to understand that we as men, we do better in environments where we are uncomfortable, okay? You put pressure on a rock, it turns into a diamond. Men do better in environments where we are uncomfortable, okay? What I'm saying is, the more you stay uncomfortable as a man, the more success you will have.
And as I've said since day one, motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, and it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. Discipline is infinitely more important. So no matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. It's not motivation. If you only did what you were supposed to do when you were motivated to do it, that's leaving it to chance. But if you're disciplined, you go do what you're supposed to do. That's the way it works. Be encouraged by the struggle. Lean into the struggle. The great news is the Spirit of God can give you power to put the flesh to death, that the flesh has no authority over you. As Paul says in Romans 8, you're not obligated to sin any longer. You do not have to say yes. The enemy wants you to believe the lie that you have to say yes, that the flesh is too strong for you, that you can't overcome it, but the Spirit of God is there so that you can. And so as long as you will walk in step with Him and yield to Him each day and ask Him for what you need to put the flesh to death, He'll give it to you, and then He'll lead you in the way you should go. There's going to be things in your life that you don't have control over. There's things that you can control. There's things you can't control. Now, I will tell you that human beings can control a lot more than they think they can. And oftentimes it's pretty easy just to say, oh, that's not me, that's not on me. And I think that's the whole genesis of the idea of extreme ownership, is most of the time, or much of the time, people say that's not my fault, there's nothing I can do about that. And more often than people think, there is something you can do about it. And it is your fault.
And here's the reality. The hardest thing in life is figuring out who you are and what you want to do for the rest of your life. It's a big decision. I'm very blessed and lucky. I always knew who I was and exactly what I wanted to do. And once you figure that out, you wake up every day and you work toward it. That's what you do. It's impossible for you to fail if you know who you are, what you want to do, and you wake up every day and work toward it.
So if you're ambitious, channeling that energy into becoming the best and beating the competition is a productive way of using that dark energy. If you feel angry about a cause or something that pisses you off about the world, some injustices, instead of whining about it, etc., you go out and you do something. You get involved in a movement or whatever. You channel that energy into something productive.
But decisiveness, moving forward quickly on decisions, as quickly as you responsibly can, is how you increase velocity. Most of what slows things down is taking too long to make decisions at all skill levels. So it has to be part of the culture to get high velocity. Amazon has 1.5 million people, and the company is still fast. We're still decisive. We're still quick.
The question of worth it is reliant on an outcome. We don't make these things for an outcome. It's not the mindset to make something great. The outcome happens. You're making the best thing you can make. It's a devotional practice.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing at a park bench. It could mean jail. It can mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, or how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds, and it will be better than anything you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There's no other feeling like that. You'll be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
If you will change, everything will change for you. You don't have to change what's outside. All you've got to change is what's inside. To have more, you simply have to become more. And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Start working on yourself, making these personal changes. And he said, it'll all change for you.
You will never succeed more than you fail. That's not how it works. You know why? Because failure is a wonderful teacher. It's the only way to learn. You have to fail. Failure is a part of the process to becoming successful. I tell people this all the time. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the world, he took 946 game-winning shots. 946 times since he was in high school, the ball has been in his hand to take the game-winning shot with no time on the clock. He has only made 146 of those. He has missed over 700 times, but he has made 146. You know what they write about? When he make it. They write about when you make it. So guess what? When you get through failing, all you got to do is make one.
I think what you were bringing up with Joey is a real good point, that a lot of people say, oh, I just want to sort of, they're kind of dabbling in the idea of improving themselves. And the real way to do it is you got to write down what the fuck you want and then go after it. Because otherwise you live in sort of a wishy-washy world. You know, if you decide I'm going to get down to bang, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run a marathon in less than 5 hours, I'm going to, you know, whatever the fuck it is, you got to write that shit down and go for it.
They're going to, and you're also going to make a bunch of mistakes in life, and you're going to do stupid things, and it's because you didn't know, or that was the example you had. It doesn't mean that you're broken. You're not broken. You're just going through things, and you have to evolve, and a lot of times that evolution has pain in it and a lot of mistakes that sometimes you're even ashamed of.
Courage is the key to life itself. There are a lot of people who are born in situations where they say, well, I'll never get out of this, so they won't. I say to people who say, well, I would like to have done so and so and so. So, well, you could have done it. So, well, I couldn't get out of here. Man, the bus runs every day.
What I tell people is the best advice that I've ever heard, the best advice I ever came up with, is that live your life like you're the hero in your movie. And right now is when the fucking movie starts and your life is a shitbag disaster, like every fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he wakes up and makes a blender full of pizza and ice cream, and that's what you know what I mean? Yeah. Those guys where they're like on the brink, they put the gun in their mouth and they put it down because they see a photo of their daughter. Pretend that's you. Pretend you are, right now, you're in the part of the movie that starts and it shows you as a fucking loser. And just decide not to be a loser anymore. Live your life like there's a documentary crew following you around and you are analyzing your own behavior.
What if? A lot of times I'll be in a 200-mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I started to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, there's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years make it through. You know what I said to myself? What if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a fucking miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms because it makes me just like, what if?
So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment.
Anything I have done in my life, I've done it, and I've done it with the expectation of having no regrets, or I wouldn't have done it in the first place. I'm a man of calculation, you know what I mean? I'm a man of strategic planning and strategic movement, you know? So when I do things, I make sure I don't regret it, you know what I mean? Because if you do things and you know you're gonna regret it, you only bring in hindrance to yourself. You know what I mean? I don't want to hinder myself because I already have a heavy load on me. You know what I'm saying? Being the money maker of the family. You know what I mean? Not only just the family, I help so many people outside of my family that I don't advertise. I don't look to see publicity for and stuff like that.
Chill. Just chill. Continue to have fun. Now, by fun, I'm not recommending you go out, drink your brains out at the bar and do something stupid, but my goodness, go hunting, go fishing, get a mountain bike, go hiking, go to the gym, go hang out around a barbecue fire with friends and just act silly and act goofy and be your age. Be your age and just embrace the process. And don't look for what you are supposed to be fully, completely polished, sharpened, edged, tempered.
Listen, every day when you get out of bed, life's standing right there to kick you in the fucking face, man. Could be anything. Could be you get up and you walk downstairs, you got a fucking flat tire and you're late for work and you got this and that. Life is going to throw all kinds of crazy shit at you, right? And you have to be ready for it and you got to fucking deal with it. You can't curl up into a ball. You can't run away from it. You can't hide. You have to take all this shit head on.
And so many people never achieve their goals because they have too many toxic, negative, energy-draining people in their lives. And you have to have goals outside of your comfort zone that will challenge you, because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been.
Go after your dreams, right? Go after it. I never compromise that.
I never allowed anybody to tell me what I was capable of accomplishing. I never let anybody tell me that I can't do. Right? I went after it. If you want to accomplish something or do something that a lot of people think is difficult to accomplish, you have to put all your eggs in one basket. There's no compromise.
I want to be up, then anybody in the world wants me to be down. And it's all about, well, like I said before, self-belief. My whole success is from belief. Something I can feel, but not actually see.
You are your own competition. There is nobody that can judge your actions but you. If I'm putting, like you said, if I'm putting 100% into my life, I'm going to put 100% into my play when it's time for me to play.
Right,
if I'm putting
I hear you.
110% into me and my family, I don't care what it is that we do, I'm going to give it 100% when it's time to enjoy ourselves on whatever level we want to do. That's my decisions.
I think one of the largest tenets of masculinity for the largest period of human time is ignoring how you feel and doing what you're supposed to do because you're supposed to do it. We feel things, but jobs must be done, whether we are happy or sad. And this is also disappearing from the world. I'm stressed probably 6 days a week. I'm pissed off 6 days a week. But things need to be done. Right. So you just have to do them.
Life is a box of surprises and it's hard, you know. It's not easy, you know, to be in this level and still push and still motivate to carry on, you know, to score goals, to be in a good shape, to compete with the young lions. They coming, and when they play against me, they want to show me that they are stronger than me and faster than me. You have to prepare very well, not in terms of physically, but mentally too. I think it's very hard.
See, the point is, you don't know how much future you've got. What's gone is gone. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Some of you have had divorces. Some of you have probably had bankruptcies. Some of you have had terrible things happen in the past. But what's gone is gone. It's in the past. And to spend your time focusing on the past is to spend the only thing that you've got, and that's what's right here, right now, because the sand never stops running. This is all we've got. And to spend your time now thinking of what happened there is making absolute certain that the future is going to be the same as the past.
I never ran from anything because I didn't have nobody to go to. I've always had where I'm going. Home to get me. Ain't nobody there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always been in a situation where I'm forced to deal with it myself.
Attitude goes a long way. So again, going back to this guy here, Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, passes away. 4 years has colon cancer, no one knows about it. He goes to the doctor. That means that this doesn't mean he's not taking care of his body. He's going to the doctor, but he doesn't advertise his pain. Sometimes it's just good not to advertise your pain. Sometimes it's good to not just tell the whole world what you're going through. I'm not telling you don't talk about it with a group of people. I'm not telling you have some private conversations with certain people. I do believe in the ability to have some kind of a form of a release. But the way people are doing it right now, posting everything on Instagram, all this other stuff, what's the point behind it? You need attention? Is that what you need? It's not necessarily mental toughness. Mental toughness people are not looking for attention. Mental toughness people are trying to get results. A big difference.
Any way you can be great at doing what you love to do, you got to commit to it. You can't want something but not put in the work. You know, and it doesn't matter what you're doing in life, no matter what it is. It could be a professional athlete, or it could be an artist, it could be a doctor, it could be anything in the world, a president of the United States. But you got to put the work in. And I think if you put the work in, the results will happen organically. And most important, you got to find happiness too. You know, if you're having fun, enjoying what you're doing, then it just makes it so much easier. It makes it so much easier to just like, you want to do it every day because it's something that you really enjoy doing and you don't look at it as work.
Fuck your tired body, fuck that unmotivated mind, and get out there and do it anyway. You know, you better fight yourself, because you're not only winning when things are going your way. You got to figure out how to win when things aren't going your way.
Life is short, okay? And you can't go around life carrying baggage. Can't go around life carrying resentment. Just can't do it, it's too short.
You know what I mean? So you have to forgive and move on.
So when people look for that happiness factor, is your foundation and your fundamental principles so strong that if this thing was to go away, could you still create happiness and success all over again? If your foundation and principles are extremely strong, no matter what endeavor it is, you look at the most successful people in business and everything else, they've gone to do multiple things that have allowed them to create different levels of happiness within that confined circle. You know, Michael had basketball. Then he had the shoe brand. Now he's got other endeavors. He's involved in, you know, a lot of philanthropy things. The competitive nature doesn't stop, and everybody thinks you can only be happy with one certain aspect in your life. You can create happiness in multiple things in your life, and if it gets to the point where it is burning you out, that means it's time for that you are no longer obsessed with that thing anymore, and it's time for you to become obsessed with something else.
I find it amazing when people say they don't have motivation. I have people come to me and say, I want to get rich, I don't have motivation, I want to work harder. I said, how can you not have motivation to get rich when somebody like me with a head start like mine is still working 18-hour days every single day, 7 days a week without having a day off? I'm going to crush you. You don't stand a chance. I will beat you.
Because I think any person, any human realizes that if you want some kind of a good outcome, you're going to have to work hard for it. And if you don't work hard for something, you're not going to get an outcome that's really worth much.
If you want to be in the game, and it's sports, it's business or whatever, there's going to be wins and there's going to be losses. And you have to take them both in stride. And you have to be able to, you know, there's a lot of people, when you gamble, right? And you lose and you go into a deep, dark depression. I've seen this with guys that do it. Get depressed, and gambling isn't for you. You know, if you are the type of person that's on social media and people say horrible things to you and you get depressed and you shouldn't be on social media. You know what I mean? These are all part of being in the game. When you're in the fucking game, great things happen and really bad things happen. And you got to take it all in stride. And you got to pick yourself up the next day, strap your fucking shoes back on and get out there and go to fucking war again. That's how it works.
What's your life going to look like if you don't do it? What's your life going to look like if you don't fucking go out and build what the you want to build? That you have this little vision in your heart and in your mind of what your life should be like. And what are you going to feel like if you don't go do that? What are you going to feel like in a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? When you die, what are you going to be saying? Because I can promise you, bro, that dream ain't going away. That dream was placed in your heart and in your mind by God. It is your purpose, and you are obligated to go build it. And for you to go build that, it's going to require executing when you don't feel like it.
If you think you have room to grow, you do and you will. If you think you're as good as you can be, you're right, and you won't get any better. No matter how great you are, no matter how good things have went, when you're humble, you always feel as if I can do this a little bit better, or you show up with the mentality that you're open to doing things in a better way. You don't never show up and speak in terms of, oh, we did that already, right? Already accomplished that, right? Day one mentality and energy. When I show up, I'm trying to improve every single day. That doesn't mean errors. That doesn't mean opposition. That doesn't mean perfection, right? That means every single day I'm showing up and I'm trying to pursue the quest of becoming better.
Now, I often tell people too, fix the things you repeat every day, because people tend to think of those as trivial, right? You get up, you brush your teeth, you have your breakfast, you have your routines that you go through every day. Well, those probably constitute 50% of your life. And people think, well, they're mundane, I don't need to pay attention to them. It's like, no, that's exactly wrong. The things you do every day, those are the most important things you do.